That's the thing about the NFL. You're either thrilled or you're absolutely deflated. There's no middle ground. You've lived that. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and no in between, especially when you're the Cowboys and you're 1-2 and you desperately need a win to avoid falling to 1-3. He's Rodney Harrison. I'm Mike Florio. We got an hour to talk about Cowboys, Giants, and the rest of Week 4. Good morning, Rodney.
Good morning, Mike. And if you're the Cowboys, you have to be excited. It's a divisional win. It's on the road. It's when they're coming off a terrible performance against the Baltimore Ravens, they have to be thrilled, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They made CeeDee Lamb the focal point of the offense. I thought Dak Prescott, I thought he looked really good. I thought he did a great job of just showing patience, spreading the ball around, and just really taking control of the offense, Mike. I thought Dak played well.
Yeah, Dak played well, and the defense, which gave up 275 rushing yards to the Ravens on Sunday. Thursday night, the rushing net for the Giants was 26. I've had to check that twice. I've had to make sure my eyes aren't deceiving me and or otherwise impaired. 26 was the net rushing on 24 carries. That's 1.08 yards per carry. So something happened. Somebody put a foot in someone's butt collectively between Sunday and Thursday night to get that rush defense to step up the way that it did against the Giants.
I think overall, you look at the defensive side of the ball. I thought Mike Zimmer did a really good job of motivating those guys. You see Mozzie Smith, who was absolutely embarrassed the first 2 games of the season. He comes out and he actually plays well. I mean, he makes some plays. And Linval Joseph, another veteran, big-time guy in the middle of that defense, he was getting pushed around, played a lot better last night. But DeMarvion Overshawn, this guy was probably the best player on the field, this linebacker. He was all over the place, making tackles from sideline to sideline. He contributed on the special teams. I just thought he was phenomenal. And you need guys like that. When you're going in a tough divisional matchup, you need guys outside of the superstars stepping up, making plays. And I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, and the Cowboys needed that total team effort, offensively, defensively. And one of the things going into the game, and I think this is a true narrative as it relates to the Cowboys, and the stats back it up, if they get up by multiple scores, it all rolls downhill and they get an easy win. If they go down by multiple scores, it all falls apart for them. This was more of a close back and forth. Not that the Giants ever really took the lead, and I'm not sure that they did. If they did, it wasn't for very long. It was just close. It was hard fought. There was small margin for error. The Cowboys had to stay focused the whole game. The Cowboys' usual blueprint is get up big and relax, or go down big and just, flail. This was a full 60-minute focus for the Cowboys to earn this win. There was nothing easy about it. Stayed within the 6-point spread. They had to sweat out a final drive, although the Giants never really did much with it. I have some thoughts on that I'll share in a few minutes. But it wasn't easy. And maybe they needed something that wasn't easy. Maybe they need to morph into a team that can win close, hard-fought games.
Well, I think that's a part of why you saw those guys so excited at the end. It's not, we beat the Giants. No, we went on the road and beat a team that was a solid team, a team that's in our division on the road, which is very tough to do. And I think if you're the Cowboys, you have to be excited. I thought Mike Zimmer did a good job of having this team prepared and ready to go. It didn't look like they were, and I look at a guy like CeeDee Lamb, who I thought really set the tone. I mean, the guy was complaining last week about not getting the ball, and he was highly upset. But then he comes back this week, he apologizes, and they make him the focal point of the offense, and this guy really gets it going. So I love the maturity of CeeDee Lamb, understanding that he's a leader. Everybody's looking up to him. I love the fact that he wants the ball. It's not like he just signed a contract and he's complacent. Oh, I'm cool. I got my $35 million a year. I'm good. No, this kid wants to win. And anytime in the post game when we interview this guy, he's the same way. So I have a lot of respect for CeeDee Lamb. The fact that he came out, he apologized. He wants to be a better teammate, and he got it done yesterday, Mike.
7 catches, 98 yards on 8 targets, and 1 touchdown for CeeDee Lamb. There it is if you're watching on Peacock. If you're listening on Sirius XM 85, trust me, he caught the ball and he ran into the end zone for a score. That was his touchdown last night. And you're right. It's a quick turnaround, too. And one of the things that the Cowboys put out there through their PR staff, it was the first time ever the Cowboys had to go on the road with only 3 days between games, because they always have that Sunday, Thursday turnaround on Thanksgiving at home. Every other team's done it at least 6 times. They'd never done it before last night, and I felt like they were trying to build in an excuse. It just showed that it was something that required full focus. They had to bust their asses this week to get ready to go do what they did, and it worked. And this is the kind of thing that can propel them. They got 2 tough games coming up, Rodney. They got to go to Pittsburgh next Sunday night. You'll be there for the Cowboys and the Steelers, one of the great rivalries in football, even though they get together once every 4 years or thereabouts. And then they have a home game against the Lions, and those Lions fans are going to take over AT&T Stadium. And then they have their bye week. So they needed that one last night, and they needed that belief that they can win a close, tough game, because these next 2 games, assuming they don't get blown off the field like they did against the Saints and the Ravens, it's going to be a close, tough game if they're going to have a chance to win.
And that's the thing that makes it so difficult to really gauge the Cowboys, because at times they look really good. They look like a well-coached team. They're out there doing all the things they're supposed to do, making all the checks, making all the adjustments, just doing things right. And then all of a sudden you get a game like the Ravens last week, and it's like, what's going on? And then they come back this week or yesterday, and they play a lot better. It's just, you have to bring it every week as a pro. You can't take time off. You can't get comfortable because you're the Dallas Cowboys. Once you win, you have a little bit of success. You got to keep pushing, and that comes from the head coach. That comes from leadership within that locker room. That comes from Mike Zimmer. I mean, for those guys to play on the level that they played on the defensive front line, why can't they bring that every single week? And that's the thing that makes defenses great. That's the thing that makes teams really well, when they're able to play a lot more consistent. So for me, a lot of that motivation or lack thereof, it comes from the head coach. It comes from the defensive coordinator. They have to do a better job of getting these guys and making them understand the sense of urgency to win right now and to bring it every week, Mike.
You're absolutely right, and it's going to be a long, hard fight all season long for the Cowboys. It's not going to come easily like it did last year when they were winning every home game. They were rolling over people, and hey, maybe that's better when the playoffs roll around if they qualify. Maybe sometimes teams have it too easy in the regular season, and then they get hit in the mouth in the postseason. They're like, what's this? The taste of my own blood? That hasn't happened, and they fall apart.
But the only problem with that, Mike, is
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I got this national alert warning.
Uh-oh. Hopefully it's not incoming missiles.
Yeah,
Let me know if it is. That's all right.
I lost my train of thought. What was your last
That's
point?
all right. Rodney's in the hurricane zone. Rodney's dealing with the storms. Although you're somewhat inland, you're still getting some of the weather. Just let me know if the missiles are in the air. I want to assume the position that I learned back in grade school. Sit on the floor, put your head between your legs, and kiss your ass goodbye. Okay, so so anyway, Dr. Doom makes an appearance on Friday. My point was that the Cowboys, I lost my train of thought as well. The Cowboys might be better served if they get to the playoffs this year if they have to win some of these close, hard-fought games, because I felt like it was too easy for them last year. You get up a couple of scores and you roll, and then the Packers come to town and they punch you in the mouth and you don't know what to do. So this might be, in a weird sort of way, the way to kind of toughen them up and have them ready for the playoffs if they do encounter some adversity, because they were behind last night 3-0. They pulled ahead and they held off the Giants consistently and inevitably, but it wasn't easy. That might be the key for the Cowboys.
The message has to come from the coaches, and the message has to come from the leadership within that locker room. So if you're telling me that the Cowboys kind of skated along the season last year, didn't have a lot of adversity or a lot of tough challenges, but once they got to the playoffs, then all of a sudden they get this wake-up call. But if you're a good team and you have great leadership, you don't even get to that point. You just take care of business. You win one football game. You're excited about it for 12 to 16 hours, and then you put that away, and then you go on to the next. And that's what pros do. I mean, especially when you're preparing to win football games and you have a lot of confidence in your team and what you're doing. teams that are up and down, and it just comes from instability at the head coaching spot and not and the lack of leadership in the locker room. So for me, I just look for the Cowboys. Whenever you go through games like this, it should build more trust, more camaraderie, more unity within your group. That's what it should do. It shouldn't bring you apart.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.